Section 1300 Primary Voltage Service. 1301 General. CPS Energy offers either an overhead primary voltage service or an underground primary voltage service. Standard overhead primary voltage service typically consists of a 4-wire Y, 3-phase voltage source supplied by CPS Energy from a distribution circuit to primary meter pole. The load side of the primary current transformer, CT, bushing shall be considered the point of delivery, POD. Standard underground primary voltage service typically consists of a 4-wire Y, 3-phase voltage source supplied by CPS Energy from a distribution circuit to an underground primary metering cabinet or dedicated primary metering compartment within customer-furnished and maintained primary switchgear. The load side of primary current transformer, CT, bushing shall be considered the point of delivery, POD. The 3-phase, primary voltage service listed below may only be supplied with approval by CPS Energy. Where customer requires a primary voltage service, they must contact the CPS Energy customer service representative for proper coordination. 1302 3-phase primary voltage service. The following nominal primary voltages may be supplied by CPS Energy with prior approval and meeting minimum customer load requirements. 1. 4160Y/2400 volt, 4-wire, minimum load required, 60 kVA. 2. 13200Y/7620 volt, 4-wire, minimum load required, 200 kVA. 3. 34500Y/19920 volt, 4-wire, minimum load required, 500 kVA. Note: the 4160Y/2400 volt or 13200Y/7620 volt services, when approved by CPS Energy, may require a step-down transformer to be installed on customer premise, which will affect the point of delivery. Refer to definition of point of delivery. 1303 Multiple primary voltage services, primary circuits. Where CPS Energy approves additional services, customer's equipment design and operational logic shall prevent any tie between multiple services at primary voltage. 1304 Overhead voltage service. 1304 1 CPS Energy overhead distribution line. CPS Energy will extend the overhead distribution line and terminate on a primary meter pole that shall be installed on customer's premises at a readily accessible location. 1304 2 Customer's overhead electrical system. Customer shall be responsible for furnishing and installing overhead service conductors from their first pole to CPS Energy's primary meter pole, POD. Customer's first pole shall be located between 50 and 100 feet from CPS Energy's primary meter pole. Customer shall provide sufficient conductor length for termination at CPS Energy's primary meter pole. Customer shall be responsible for the installation, operation, and maintenance of their overhead electrical system. Note: at no time will customer be permitted to accept overhead to underground primary service from CPS Energy's primary meter pole. 1304 3 Customer's service equipment. Customer shall install on their terminal pole suitable equipment for disconnecting their service and providing overcurrent protection. Customer's overcurrent device must be coordinated with that of CPS Energy. The highest rating or setting for the overcurrent protection device must be approved by CPS Energy. 1304 4 Lightning surge protection. Lightning surge protection by customer is not permitted to be installed on CPS Energy's primary meter pole. All lightning surge protection shall be installed in accordance with applicable codes. 1304 5 Multiple services at primary voltage. Where CPS Energy approves additional services, customer's equipment design and operational logic shall prevent any tie between multiple services at primary voltage. 1304 6 Primary metering. The standard overhead installation for primary metering equipment shall be rack-mounted and installed on primary meter pole. All overhead primary metering equipment shall be installed by CPS Energy. where customer elects pad mount primary metering equipment for 13200Y/7620 volt service or 34500Y/19900 volt service, then customer will be required to install a primary duct bank and slab per CPS Energy specifications. CPS Energy will furnish and install primary voltage conductors and primary metering equipment, refer to Article 1309. 1305 Underground voltage service. 1305 1 CPS Energy primary voltage duct line and primary voltage cable. Customer shall furnish and install primary voltage duct line per CPS Energy specifications. Where serving a primary metering cabinet, customer shall be responsible for the construction of the slab for the primary metering cabinet in addition to the primary duct bank. Where serving a dedicated primary metering compartment within customer's switchgear, customer shall terminate primary duct bank to this dedicated compartment. CPS Energy will furnish and install the primary voltage cable and make all necessary terminations. Customer shall provide the necessary terminals and be responsible for terminating the primary voltage cables to customer-owned switchgear. 1305 2 CPS Energy primary voltage duct line entering buildings or other structures. Where CPS Energy owned primary voltage cable must enter a building to terminate in a customer-furnished primary metering switchgear compartment, the conductors shall be installed in a manner that will render them to be considered outside of the building. Customer will be responsible for meeting this requirement and for the maintenance of that portion of the duct line within their slab and building. Refer to definition of conductors considered outside of building. 2 inspections are required for concrete encased duct lines. A CPS Energy inspector shall inspect and approve all primary duct lines and manholes before the conduits within the underground duct line are encased in concrete, and a second inspection is required before the trench is backfilled. City inspectors or other AHJ inspectors do not perform these inspections. To schedule an inspection, customer may contact the CPS Energy customer service representative or refer to helpful numbers listed on the inside front cover page. Note: CPS Energy reserves the right to require customer to remove any or all of the backfill and concrete if an inspection was not performed as required. 1305 3 step-down transformers. Where CPS Energy approves customer's request for primary voltage service of 4160Y/2400 volt or 13200Y/7620 volt, CPS Energy may require that a step-down transformer be installed on customer's premises. Customer shall furnish and install primary voltage duct line, line side, and transformer slab in accordance with CPS Energy specifications. Where transformer supplies CPS Energy primary metering cabinet, customer shall be responsible for furnishing and installing load-side conduits, and primary metering cabinet slabs. CPS Energy will furnish, install, and terminate primary voltage cables between step-down transformer and primary metering cabinet. Customer shall be responsible for all load-side conduits and conductors including terminals. 1. Where a step-down transformer is used to provide 4160Y/2400 volt service, the pod shall be at load side of CT bushing installed at CPS Energy transformer. 2. Where a step-down transformer is used to provide 13200Y/7620 volt service, the pod shall be at secondary spade of step-down transformer when supplying a primary metering compartment located in customer's switchgear. Where supplying CPS Energy furnished pad mount primary metering cabinet, the cabinet must be located outside on customer's premise and the pod shall be at the load side of CT bushing installed at the primary metering cabinet. Note 1. Customer installed duct line shall be in accordance with Section 1000 Note 2. CPS Energy will terminate customer load side conductors at transformer secondary. CPS Energy will furnish and install the line side, primary voltage cable and make all terminations at CPS Energy transformer. Note 3. 2 inspections are required for transformer slabs. A CPS Energy inspector shall inspect the slab after forms, reinforcing steel, primary and secondary conduits, metering conduit, S, and ground rods are in place, and the installation is ready for concrete pouring. A second inspection is required after the concrete has been poured and all forms have been removed. City inspectors or other AHJ inspectors do not perform these inspections. To schedule an inspection, customer may contact a CPS Energy customer service representative or refer to helpful numbers listed on the inside front cover page. Note 4. CPS Energy reserves the right to require customer to remove any or all of the concrete and surrounding fill to expose reinforcing steel, footings, etc. when a slab inspection was not obtained prior to it being poured. 1305 for customer's service equipment. Customer shall provide the necessary service equipment disconnecting means and overcurrent protection equipment. Customer's overcurrent device must be coordinated with that of CPS Energy. The highest rating or setting for the overcurrent protection device must be approved by CPS Energy. Customer shall submit switchgear drawings for approval to the CPS Energy Customer Service Representative, refer to Section 1800. 1305 Primary metering. Primary metering equipment may either be installed in transformer secondary compartment, 4 kV only, in primary metering cabinet or in customer's furnished primary switchgear. If primary metering cabinet option is selected by customer, CPS Energy will furnish and install the primary metering cabinet at customer's expense. Customer must furnish a concrete slab as specified by CPS Energy, refer to Article 1305 Note 3 for inspection requirements. Where customer furnished primary switchgear option is selected, customer shall provide a dedicated metering compartment in their switchgear and coordinate with CPS Energy to have primary metering equipment shipped to and installed in primary switchgear by manufacturer prior to delivery, refer to Section 1800.